Alright, a bit of a longer video today because we're going to look at 3 different runs and all of them are going to be no-roll challenge runs. So the no-roll challenge is exactly what it sounds like. You have to try and win a game without rolling at all for the entirety of the run. And I don't remember who originally uploaded the first video of it, but it's been around since the very beginning of my involvement with SAP, I think. And yeah, it was a bit of a craze for a while. Everyone was uploading their attempts trying to go for the no-roll challenge in the old version of Turtle Pack. But these days we have loads of different packs to look at, and the no-roll challenge is quite different in each one. Although there are similarities, obviously. And the last few years, every time there's been a new pack released, I have done the no-roll challenge in that pack. Now, last year it was Danger, the year before it was Unicorn, and then it was Golden before that. But this year there has not been a full brand new pack. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to do a grand tour of all the packs. We're going to go for the no-roll challenge in every single one, including weekly and customs. And we're going to spread that out over a couple of different videos because otherwise it would be an absolutely mammoth task for editing. So first of all, we're starting with Turtle Pack, and then we'll also have Puppy and Star in this video, and then the next one will be Golden, Unicorn, and Danger, and then the last one we'll just wrap up with Weekly and Customs. So yeah, no roll challenge, it's definitely an attritional challenge. I'm sure I said that in last year's video, where essentially you just have to play as many games as you can in order to get the conditions for the no roll to actually win. But just like with any other mode in this game, there are optimizations you can make, and the more you play no roll, the better you get at recognizing where those optimizations are and where you can improve your chances, even though you have very limited options in the shop. So in that turn, for instance, we could have sold the ant and the and the mosquito to make sure that the salad hit the worm and the rabbit. But you have to remember when you're playing no roll that units that are on your team already and that they already have a decent baseline of stats are more valuable than they might be in a normal run. And then here we buy-sell some ducks, which we normally would not do in a turtle run. I guess on turn 6, would you buy-sell ducks for camel? Probably not. And I think also in a no-roll game, you're more likely to be taking units of previous tiers rather than always buying stuff on level up. So here we actually will sell the mosquito. I think I am going to sell the ant as well. Maybe not. I guess it just depends because, yeah, the ant is at level 1.5 there. So we're giving up on the opportunity of a potential level up, but equally we can recognize that the chances of an ant appearing in the starting shop are not very good, and they're only going to deteriorate the longer the game goes on. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the rabbit and the camel. The rabbit is just an incredibly valuable unit in general because it's going to allow us to get much better value from the food that's in the shop. And it will also give us the opportunity to maximize the value from the worms and also for any pigeons that we might get in the shop as well, since they can produce free food. Or, well, it's not free, I guess. You have to buy, sell a pigeon, but it does make the value of the food more higher. Now, as usual, I'm playing against all packs here. I guess, would it be easier? I don't know if it would be easier going for a no-roll if you're playing against just Turtle Pack. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments if that's your preferred way to play these types of challenges. But here we actually get very lucky and we get the another worm in the shop. So not only can we take the food, but we can also potentially take this shark, which I think is what's going to happen now. Yeah, I wasn't going to take it. I was just going to run triple worm, but instead we're going to take the shark. We need that high tempo to try and win as soon as possible before the opposing teams just scale up to the point where our stats are much less of an advantage. Now that is definitely something that you will notice when you're going for no-roll challenges, is that oftentimes you'll have a whole team of level 1s like we do here. I mean, we're about to combine the worm, but it would be it would be completely normal to be at turn 12, 13 and still have a bunch of level 1s. Because as good as chocolate is, you still have a very low chance of getting any in the shop in a no-roll challenge. Now here they have a very large whale shark, but we got lucky there that the scaling from the rabbit and the camel buffs were good enough to get the trade. And then here's another example of a situation where we could potentially take a level 1 tier 4 on turn 11, and that is the whale. So I think, am I going to take the whale here? I could take the sheep and pill it as well. That's something else we could do. Dragon is there, but I mean, dragon isn't amazing in a no roll because you need to roll to find the tier 1s. Okay, we are going to pill the sheep. And then probably take the honey on the shark. I mean, we could take the honey on the whale or the mammoth, but giving it to the shark has the added benefit of the rabbit buff. Plus, we can potentially win by having the bee as the sole survivor. And here we're actually going to face a team that has double tomato from Star Pack, which is pretty unusual. But I think we're in good shape anyway. Okay, so we do win just because of the bee. So that worked out perfectly. Now here, although we have a whale already, it makes more sense to buy, sell. And we've got to be careful here, yeah. If we want the garlic, we have to take it first before the cow. And then we can bring in the whale. Bison, you can see in the shop there, is one of these units that I think is incredibly weak in no roll because you're very unlikely to have a level 3, even from tier 1. Here's the white truffle plus geometric tortoise. I think we should be okay. Okay, it's going to be a tie, is it? No, we just win because of the shark gaining extra stats there. So now we just need one more win. There's almost nothing we can buy in shop that is relevant. So we're just going to have to take the meat bone only. And then hopefully this is going to be good enough. So it's another danger pack team. Multiple jumpers, but luckily one of them is the African wild dog, which is the tier 1 and is by far the weakest. The rabbit scaling and the shark in the back are going to make sure that we get the win. So there's Turtle Pack done. I mean, Turtle Pack is the one that I've spent the most time on by far over the years in terms of no roll. So I didn't really think it would take too long to get a win. But some of these other packs, I'm not sure if I've ever actually had a no roll win in them. I would have to go back and check the tapes. So next up is Puppy Pack. And Puppy Pack, obviously this is a different version to the original. I don't know if I actually did a no-roll challenge in the original Puppy. Maybe that would have been back before I started doing voiceovers. But anyway, yeah, we end up with this rainbow start here. So we've got 5 different pets on turn 2. Something you would normally never have playing Super Auto Pets, but in no-roll, it's going to be pretty common. And we lose turn 2. A lot of the time you're just going to lose the first 2 turns as well. But then look at this. We get double ferret in the shop. So double ferret is good for the level up because now we can get the tier 3 unit, which I don't think we had in the previous run. But then also we're going to get the chance to keep the toy alive for the whole game. So when the Puppy Pack revamp was done, the toys were changed to be start of turn abilities. So the ferret toy will activate as soon as we go back to the shop. And that means that we don't actually need Flying Squirrel. So I guess there are some pluses and minuses to that. You know, in the previous version, going for no roll in this scenario, you know, it would be beneficial to be able to have extra buy-sell units with some of the higher tier toys. But I think this way, being able to just keep the toy pet like the ferret and regenerate the toy every turn without having to worry about it, it does give us a good platform. And once we get the level 2 balloon activated, which has had its ability changed as well, we'll get +1/1 on 2 units every 2 turns. So we'll definitely take the double blackberry onto the moth. Pack 2 also has some of these really strong tier 1s that are worth keeping for the whole game, or worth keeping for the majority of the game. So in theory, it should be pretty good for no roll. But I feel like a lot of the time when I go for challenges in Puppy Pack, they fall apart in the late game because some of the late game teams can be pretty horrific. Okay, we actually get another hoopoe bird. Maybe I could have gotten rid of the hatching chick there or the tropical fish, but instead we'll just go for the partial level up. I guess there's also a decent case to just keep the tropical fish here because it's going to get the buff from the balloon next turn. And, you know, we're not going to be able to be choosy about the scaling that we get. And so oftentimes it just makes sense to keep units from the early tiers that you would otherwise be getting rid of at the first opportunity. So am I going to make a mistake here? I think I could buy sell the duck, but maybe I'm not going to do that. I think we're just going to get rid of hatching chick and take the tar. Yeah, I suppose I could have bought sold the duck there for an extra 1 HP onto the tar. But I think I'm going to take the pie as well. Can't decide here whether or not to... okay, we're actually going to double up on the tropical fish. So definitely should have bought the duck there. I mean, if you see here, I'm going to end turn on 3 gold. So buy selling the duck was the correct thing to do, and I didn't notice it. And then the tar is going to give the chili. It's actually not chili anymore. It's mild chili, I think. It's got some other name, so it does 1 damage less than chili. It's kind of difficult to notice watching it back, but it's a slightly different color, which I think is fair enough because tar is very strong as it is. So am I going to take the level up here or not? I think maybe I'm not going to take the level up. Yeah, we've already gotten rid of the ferret, so we know that the toy is going to run out next turn. And it's always good to have a toy, both in terms of the tempo that it can provide, but also it opens up the door for other units that we might acquire in the coming turns, like Mosasaurus, for instance. So the toy breaks, and then we can take our level up. Am I going to take the toilet paper, I think? Yeah. And we'll buy another blackberry, take the level up, and we get mongoose. We also get anglerfish, although there's nothing on the other team that I would actually want to keep. I think, yeah, although I did buy the egg onto the puppy and also give it some stats from the tropical fish, I think we'd definitely rather have the mongoose toy, especially since we still have 5 hearts, which is kind of incredible, really. Most of the time, I would get to the late game and the team would be in pretty rough shape. Here, the Shima Inaga summon actually lets us get a second strike away with the chili. And then it's a tie because of the hoopoe in the backline. Now, do I take the mongoose here, mongoose toy or not? I think I might actually just keep it for a turn. And then I think we'll bring in the mantis shrimp. So this is one of the other benefits of the toy change, is that you can actually just stock toys and keep them in shop. It does mean that you would be blocked from having 2 foods in the next shop phase, which is a little bit counter to the sort of no-roll philosophy. But I think at this scenario, when we're on a good roll, we're scaling, albeit not in the most rapid fashion. And here you can see I was about to take television, but I think it makes more sense to just try and win every single turn from now on. So I think we would take coconut. That gives us a better chance. And the coconut will now go to the highest attack friend rather than the frontmost friend. So I think in this scenario it would be the mantis shrimp. Pie gives +4 attack. So yeah, it should be mantis shrimp that gets the coconut. And then it looks like I'm going to take the eagle and give it some defense with the lemon. I don't think it was worth selling the tropical fish there for the lobster. it would give the eagle a little bit more stats, but I think ultimately just, not worth it. And then we get practically a walkover there against that Danger Pack team. So we only need 2 more wins. And we've got to be careful who we give the buffs to here. Yeah, I think if I give the buff to the tar, it should now get the coconut, which I think is better than the manta shrimp having it. And there was really nothing in the shop there worth freezing. So yeah, the tar is going to get a knockout and preserve all its health. It's actually going to be a pretty big doggo here, so maybe we're not going to win on this turn. Okay, we are going to win because we had the eagle in back. And now we've got a decision to make. So we're on 5 hearts, but the team is going to start falling apart here very quickly. Unless we, we need to buy-sell the elephant seal and then take 2 mantis shrimps separately. 2 mantis shrimps is going to do the same damage as a level 2. And it's actually a summon team. Yeah, luckily they only have level 1 toad and level 1 vulture. So hopefully the spawns from the orca here are not going to be very good. And yes, we get the win. So yeah, I definitely had some heartbreaking runs on Puppy Pack going for no roll challenge, but that one was pretty plain sailing. So now we move on to Star Pack, the other pack that's had this significant revamp since it was released. Now, this one is kind of odd because I think there are some units in this pack that are incredibly good for no roll, and then there are obviously others that are completely useless. Because there is a roll line in this pack, we've got Marmoset at the beginning, and then Capybara, and there's also a Cappy. There's Hamster and Ostrich, so there are a bunch of pets that you're just kind of priced out of. There's nothing you can do with them. However, there are some incredibly strong units that maybe we'll get to see some of them in the near future. I'll let you have a think about which ones they might be. So we get away without losing any of the early turns there. I did want to have like a frog swap here, I think. That's why we're scaling up the kiwi. But in a no-roll game, the chances of getting the frog are not that great. So maybe that was a mistake. I could have just been muscle memory, always going for these frog swaps. And we do lose our first heart here against Golden Pack. Now, something else I guess I didn't mention as we acquire the Mantis, which is the unit that I was talking about. Something else I didn't mention is that since the no-roll challenge was invented way back at the beginning, the rolling mechanics have obviously changed a bit. So we've now got free rolls. So if you sell a Marmoset in this pack, you get a free roll. And for the purposes of the challenge, you're not allowed to use that roll either. Any type of shop rolling counts for this challenge. But then we've also had in Unicorn Pack, they added Yeti. And Yeti will automatically roll the shop. So that also is not allowed. I mean, we're not playing either of those units in this particular pack. But we will get around to Unicorn in a future video. And the last time I did the Unicorn no roll, people did ask me, is it okay if I use Yeti? And the answer is no. Yeti rolls the shop. As soon as the shop rolls, for any reason, the challenge is over. Now, I did actually have some games like that. Occasionally, again, muscle memory, you can end up just clicking the roll button, but out of sheer force of habit. I mean, how many tens of thousands of times have I rolled the shop in this game? Now here we get very lucky with another Mantis. I think maybe I was considering at this point running double Mantis because they're, automatically scaling themselves. But it is difficult to find units that are worthwhile fainting. So here I just take the jellyfish. We do have a tiny bit of level up synergy with the pug plus Chihuahua. And this team doesn't have any equipment for the baguette to remove. But actually the kiwi's done some good stuff with its very high health. And I'm pretty sure I'm still going to end up abandoning it once we find some good enough units. Okay, so here we go. We get offered the vulture, or the hamster. Now, hamster can't do anything for us, but vulture is pretty good because it will actually it will get half of a trigger every turn from the mantis feint. So it didn't used to work like that way back. You could only count feints in battle, but ultimately it was changed so that the vulture will, can get onto 1 out of 2 feints in shop, as you'll see it here. See, the little icon pops up above its head. And here we take the clownfish in order to get the level up, and then we should definitely be taking the Spinosaurus here. So in fact, yeah, just sell 2 of these units. Probably keep clownfish, probably sell pug. And then we want the blobfish and the Spino. So this is the engine that I was referring to earlier, Spinosaurus plus Mantis. If you're struggling with Star Pack, this is definitely one of the easiest ways to get a win. But it's not going to be as good as, if you had free reign to just buy whatever you wanted. Because we're on no roll, we can often end up with shops like this one, where there's nothing worth buying, really. I mean, we're going to have to buy the peach. We're probably going to take, the scaling from the cat. I'm not sure why I didn't buy the peach there. That was a bit odd. Maybe I didn't realize how much gold I had. But yeah, I think we're definitely going to lose against this team. I'm not sure the peach would have made any difference. But yeah, oftentimes it can be incredibly demoralizing going for this challenge where you get to the late game, you've had an incredible run, and then ultimately every shop just has nothing in it worth buying. However, in this particular shop, we do get an orca. So orca, I don't know, yeah, I should definitely take the alpaca first. Get rid of the clownfish even though it received a buff from the Spino. And now we've got 2 units that are close to being level 2 and they're tier 6s. So that's something else that's quite unique, I think, to Star Pack, being able to get that kind of a boost to your team that would be pretty difficult in the other packs if you're doing a no roll. And yeah, this team has already summoned the doggo, so the guinea fowl in the backline can't do anything. Yeah, there's an ostrich in shop, so we can't do anything with that, but we do get a second at the Spino and then another one. So we're getting very lucky here, and I think what I decide to do is I'm just going to let the orca faint. So having the double Spino is incredibly good. I guess there's also an argument here I could just let the vulture faint. But I also like the idea of the orca potentially producing a unit from outside Star Pack that could end up being vital in this run. So here's opposing Spino. I mean, if you play Star Pack Arena, you'll know that it's very likely you will face, it will be Spino versus Spino when you get to the late game. And here we get Nyala. And it looks like it's going to be a very easy win. Yeah, double Spino versus single Spino. And then what is the orca going to produce? It's Nyala again. So I don't know what the odds are of that happening, but they cannot be very high. So I think now we have to combine the Spinos, take the popcorn and then the stork. And there I should just buy the cheese. I don't know why I didn't buy it there. You really need to just take any advantage that you can get, even if it seems like something that wouldn't make sense normally. You have to just buy everything you're able to buy, really, unless it's like an equipment downgrade or something. But I think here it's going to end up being a tie. Yep. You will also find, level 1 vulture this late in the game. It's really not doing a huge amount, but thankfully that buff from the Spino landed on it, and I think, am I just going to keep the stonefish here? I definitely should not, because the stonefish getting knocked out by the mantis, yeah, okay, that was a mistake. The stonefish getting knocked out by the mantis will remove the pepper, and there's a good chance that we just won't find another pepper from this point onwards, so yeah, bit of a blunder there. Very big fairy armadillo. But I think we might be able to chip our way through it here. Yeah, I guess it could be a tie. Okay, maybe not. We've just scraped a win. And now we start actually getting some pretty nice things in shop here. So we could take both Triceratops or Piranha. Platypus is good as well. I should actually just freeze most of the things here, I reckon. Okay, Spino, Triceratops for this turn, or maybe we'll go for the Platypus. And then probably Spino as well, yeah. Could have frozen the Piranha there for future, but yeah, I guess you can also make this a harder challenge if you want to by going for no freeze as well. Maybe that'll be the next thing I do when we go for a no roll. Now, if you have Spino in a no roll like this, I mean, I guess just in general, you've also got to pay attention for Pillbug. So Pillbug there allows us to buy sell for a pill, and then we can just activate the Spino in shop. Here's a Turtle Pack summon team. Sometimes these teams can be very deceptive, like they might look like they're going to be easy fodder, but I mean, Turkey Fly, despite all the changes over the years, is still very good. But I think we should be on the line for a draw here. Okay, maybe not actually. Yeah, we actually lose. So I think that was quite deceptive. You look at our team and, you know, we have the 50-50 Mantis level 2.33 Spino, now level 3 Spino. And you would maybe have thought that we would win that one, but I think the fact that we only had level 1 Vulture was pretty detrimental. Now here's a weird looking Pack 2 team. Pretty rare that you see people going for that kind of a combo with the Puma and the Mongoose toy. But yeah, this one in comparison is going to be much easier. So that puts us on 7. We're actually going quite far into the late game. In the olden days, it was pretty unusual for games to go late in Star Pack. You know, they would just end much sooner. It wasn't until, I don't know if it was after the revamp that we started seeing games going to sort of turn 20 plus much more regularly. Okay, here's a transform team from Danger Pack, and maybe they didn't get the best transforms here. They are going to get double Peanut from the Walrus, but we do have the Doggo summon, so even if the Vulture gets knocked out, we would still have won there. Okay, so that's turn 19. We just need one more for the win. I mean, there is Ammonite there, so you could potentially have Mantis convert itself into an Ammonite, but without any rolls, it would always be a level 1. And you would have to waste a turn on bad positioning, so I think it's better just to go for it with the Anteater. And it's a Star Pack mirror. They've got Orca in the backline with the real Velo. And I don't know if there are any summons here that could have potentially won it for the opponent. Probably not. But there we go. So there is Puppy Pack, Turtle Pack, and Star Pack, all completed in no roll. The next video in the series will be out soon, and then we'll move on to some of the other packs.